You better have the best one, the cheapest one, or the only one. Hi, I'm George the Antique Nomad. Come with me as I wander the country in search of valuable vintage, amazing antiques, and cool collectibles. We'll buy, sell, and trade at antique malls, shops, and shows, estate sales, flea markets, thrift stores, anywhere people go to find really interesting things that just aren't made anymore. So come on, let's go! Hey everybody, it's George the Antique Nomad. I am just getting done packing my van for this weekend's Renninger's Mount Dora Antique Extravaganza, and I am so excited to be doing this show, especially after watching the highlights from the last show. We had YouTubers like Kat the Nurse Flipper and a couple from Colorado and a couple from Minnesota who were shopping and in some cases selling at the show. We got some really great tips and we met some other really interesting people. So I can't wait to show you this video, and please stay till the end because there's an item at the very end of this video that is so unusual. I've never seen it before and I doubt we'll ever see another one again. So tell me your names again.
Tony and Angela.
Well, this is Tony and Angela's booth, and they are, here's Tony. Good morning, Tony. And yeah, they are viewers and they are sellers, and look at this great stuff that they have. I want to go in and do a little feature because I love seeing people who are involved with social media come around and start being active at the shows, whether as buyers or sellers. So it's just really cool, and they have a $5 table, so there are some bargains on there, especially if you like old Coke bottles. They've got some of the town ones. Some of them are a little harder to find. Fort Valley, Georgia. Some of these are a little more obscure. A lot of these are Georgia. Pine Bluff, Arkansas. You know, people look for the more obscure ones that were not open as long. And boy, more $5 stuff. I gotta say, this is a real deal. I mean, there's some really cool stuff in here. I think I'm gonna go shopping. In fact, I see something that I'm almost sure I'm gonna get right here because I love these little bottle stoppers. Let's see if they do anything. This one, okay, yep, they, oh, there they go, look, they kiss. Oh yeah, I gotta have that. That's just really cute. I haven't had kissing ones before, so yes, that's for me. Bricks blocks, I remember those. Ah yes, and I also remember these were sold by Sears. And of course, what was more fun as a child than drawing mustaches on everybody? Here's quite a fine owl that we see from the back here. And then metal drawers. People love their metal drawers now, I'll tell you. Very popular. And then this is a neat old mill. $80 on that with the Philadelphia mark. So things for the man cave, things for the house. I really like to see these lobster kitchens. They've got 65 and 40 on those. Those are good prices. I just sold one for 65 that was in worse condition at an estate sale. So their prices are really good, and they have a lot of fun and interesting things. Cute little blow molds for Easter coming up. So yeah, come check them out, and all of us here at Mount Dora. Doing a show like this is a fairly easy process in terms of getting set up. The good thing is this place is so big that they usually have room, and so you usually can apply for a space as late as the last minute, like if you're worrying about weather like we were this weekend. The spaces cost $150, and it's a 10 by 20. You can have a tent put in at extra cost, or you can bring your own, or you can go without. And you just drive right up, set up your booth. You can camp on site if you want. They have shower facilities, or like we do, you can go get a motel somewhere close and have a little more comfort, which I have to say at this stage in life is what I like. There's a very pretty piece that is Loynell art, and this one is by McCoy. Loynell is something they did really early on when they were still doing artware and competing with Brush and Owens and Roseville. So it looks a lot like Roseville Roseanne, for example, but Loynell art was its own art line done by McCoy. And this particular piece from about 1910 is priced at $195. So this is what they call up on the hill. This is where a lot of the people who come at the last minute end up setting up. And one such couple are Steve and Nancy, who came and introduced themselves yesterday. I actually had more viewers and more people who had never been to the show before come and say hello than I've ever had at a show before. So it was really great. I'm so glad people are getting out. It was so much fun meeting so many neat people who are into this, and A few of them said they were really overwhelmed because it's such a huge show. It's definitely not it's a great place to start because you'll see a ton of stuff, but it's not like a nice little show where you go around and there's 50 dealers. There's a ton of stuff here. She has some really nice micro mosaic and millefiori bracelets in here.
I'm no expert on. Well, thank you, man.
This is so interesting to me. I haven't seen this before. They have it marked Tapazio, Portugal, and it's enameled with filigree, and it's a hat with the pair of shoes, and I assume this has to do with some sort of native dance. They have this priced at $65. I think it's really cute, and they have a large one. May I see the larger one?
Oh.
I'm going to show this in a YouTube vlog because I think these are interesting, and I've never seen them before. And there's the other one. That is really something different. I like that.
I'll tell you where she got that.
Uh-huh.
We live in Orlando, and we went to a place, and they were not far to be melted. We were buying things back out of
saving scrap,
yeah. Another dealer goes there and buys things to resell. They just melt everything.
Wow. Oh, I'm so glad
they
you
might
saved
pick
it.
the very best.
I mean, there's no weight in that. That wouldn't have been anything, but yet they're beautiful pieces. That I'm glad you preserved them, and I'm glad I got to see them because they were new to me. Thank you.
Yeah.
I really love these, and to see a big collection together is nice. Condition is variable on these, but these are all these lovely Victorian and early Gibson girl women in Vienna art trays and related companies. A lot of these would have beer advertising on the back. They're just so very sweet. Some of them were rather risque with their plunging necklines in the time, and then some of them are just sweet little girls like the one with the roses here. Prices have come down on these. You can sometimes find them below $50, but in good condition they can sell for $100 and $150. How much is that one?
I'll do 90 on it.
90? It's pretty cool. I love them.
I do too.
You've got a lot of good pendant lamps too, like that one you're holding. That's neat.
Yeah.
Well, that's the kind you were looking for. How much is your...
And they like this kind of lighting too, as you can see these big old bulbous 70s era lamps, pendant lamps, sconces. I have this piece. This is De Groot, and this one was done by Austin Products. And I have this one for sale in Kentucky. This is the first time I've seen it since I got one. But this one's priced at $65 and mine's only $49, so I have a better price. That makes me happy. I learned a long time ago in this business. In fact, I'm going to turn the camera around on myself while I say this because I want you to know how important it is. I learned a long time ago from a woman named Jan Esterly, who's no longer with us, but she worked at the Pioneer Square Antique Mall in Seattle. And she told me, I've been a dealer for years, and I learned you better have the best one, the cheapest one, or the only one if you're in a mall, if you're at a show, or if you are selling online. So look for things that not everybody has. It's really tempting to get into this idea of, oh, they're selling this, I should sell it too, but that just means you're walking right into the middle of the competition. So look for things that are unique if you can. Me Too doesn't really necessarily make it in this business. You really want things that are unusual and unique if you can get them. All right, we have some inexpensive jewelry tables, which I'm sure I will come and spend a little time with, but I wanted to show you in the corner here. Joy came and introduced herself, and then her husband is here today, but this is Junk Farmers. They've moved to Florida recently from Colorado, and they have newer stuff as well. As you can see, a lot of metal art and decorative items, but then they've got the old Pegasus, and they've got this really great tricycle right in the middle. I thought this was really neat with the all metal wheels. And that one's only priced at $55, which I think is really cool looking. And that is a genuinely old piece. And then taillights here, I think, are these from a 56 Mercury?
That's exactly what they are.
That's what I thought. Yeah, I thought I recognized them. They look like lighthouses. They always stuck out to me when I was a kid. This font is neat too. Where'd you get that?
That's a European park sink.
A European park sink. Okay, that makes sense. I've seen them in pictures. I haven't been to much of Europe, so.
That's what it is. It's got the mounting brackets and everything on it.
Oh, that is really cool.
It would mount right to a wall.
Yeah, that's nice actually. I could see where that could be kind of handy out in a shop or a shed or something, and it's neat looking too. Here is reserved for outpatients. I think that's the best sign I've seen all day. And sometimes it applies. I might need it at my booth.
Come to Junk Farmers and we've got all kinds of stuff. My name's Eric.
Yeah, this is Eric. And where is Junk Farmers?
We're right here in Mount Dora, Florida now. And we also do shows in Colorado.
Oh, so you're still going to Colorado, but you actually have moved here to Mount Dora.
Yep, and if you go to Colorado, check out Old House Vintage Market.
Old House Vintage Market, where's that?
Yep, we're going to have them up in Loveland, and we're going to have 6 shows up there.
Very cool. Yeah, Loveland's a great town and a pretty area, but I know that they've been kind of desperate for having shows there. I've got friends who are in that area, and they said there hasn't been a show for a year, so I think everyone's pretty ready to go.
Exactly.
This looks like a real one.
That's porcelain.
Yeah, porcelain, and it's chipped in the right places. That's cool. I'm going to show you folks all this stuff because it's all perfectly fun. It's all neat looking in its way, and it is all brand new. Every single thing in here. I personally don't like the fact that they allow some new things in antique shows, but I suppose for the most part this isn't stuff people are going to mistake, although you can see the swirled graniteware over there. That's to look like old. Most of this is not trying to deceive, however. But I just want you to see this because any of this kind of stuff that you see is all brand new. And you will see a lot of these things in antique stores because they're easy to order and people are having trouble finding originals of them, but that does not make them old. Now this is a hanging slag glass lamp, and this one's interesting because it's got the stamped brass with the Dutch scene on the surround, and this is old. This is going to be 1910s or 20s. Just something a little different. Also, I'll show you this. Now, Franciscan ware doesn't sell for the big prices it used to, except the tureen. That was always the most expensive piece and the hardest to find, and that is still the most expensive piece and hardest to find. Definitely something people will pay good money for if you have it in good shape. I always like these little carts because they're convenient, they roll around, they're nice little side table storage, they're good for dealers for display. And it folds. Oh, that's a really nice feature. So it goes into a small space. I like the wheels. It's clearly older with that metal webbing. She has it priced at $115, and for that much utility, that's a pretty reasonable price, I'd say. Well, I always like going down this back aisle because I found something really good at the end of it once. There's a few dealers who come from up north. Ooh, look at those statues. Those are rather phenomenal and large. So I always like to come back down this direction because I feel like there's going to be something else here for me. And besides, there's fun things to show off. Let's see, this row $10 each. Well, that seems not too expensive, so let's see, $10 or less. What's on that table? This little ruby candy dish is nice. That's probably Italian glass. That seems like a good deal. I might be tempted to get that. The Heisey Lariat pattern bowl is only $5. I mean, that's a great price. I know there's people still collecting that, and that really is inexpensive. Yeah. And then I was curious to see this picture. It's got a little rim chip, so I probably won't take it, but the shape is interesting. It's made in USA, and I'll bet that's Pfalzgraf. It's got that weight and that style. And they did do ink stamps at one point, so that's my hunch. Now see how dark lavender all of this is. This has been treated to make it this color. It would turn this color in the sun, and they're calling it sunglass, but to go this deep purple takes decades. And what they've done is they've actually put it in a machine and enhanced it. Some of these are 1950s patterns even, the Fostoria Century there, because the elegant glass still used manganese, so it will turn this color, but this has all been color enhanced. I have to say personally, even though I like the color purple, the fact that it's been color enhanced makes me not want it. If I was a sunglass collector, I'd want it to be a natural color of lavender, and if it was a glass collector, I wouldn't want it to be those colors at all. The serious glass collectors consider that to be sick glass. This guy sure brings heavy stuff, but look at those neat jukeboxes. I'm going to have to talk over the music because you can tell they work, but wow, they're really cool. The old Wurlitzers, there's 2 Wurlitzers, and then the Sebring 100 with the rainbow colors. I just love that. I would have that in my house if I had a house big enough for it. Look at the neat old letters. These are 1950s, and he's managed to spell antiques cross antiques. That's really cool. $3.75 for the big sign. and $3.50 for the other one. He's got the big Indian River fruit sign here too. He does get really neat stuff, and occasionally he gets smalls that he sells inexpensively because he's more about this big stuff. So we're going to take a look. This is where I got the big green uranium glass swung vase for 20 bucks. Now these are a couple of really pretty pieces here in the 100 to 200 range. I'm suspecting these are Orient and Flume or other newer glass. I'm going to put the sign I bought down so that I can pick this up and see. Okay, this one does not have a signature that I can find. And neither does this one, but they're really beautiful. I do think that they're more contemporary, but they're just really nice. Rock tray. This one I believe has the label on the back.
Take a pile then. You need that whole tub.
This is a nice copper piece. This is a souvenir. I'm trying to figure out where the monument is. Oh, it's actually a copper washover. Some sort of a spelter. And then this is the Sears cattail. It has crazing, but you see the nice mark on it. It was done by Universal Cambridge. $175 for a red painted stoplight. No folding chairs with padded seats. That would be comfortable to sit on in a show. Look at this cool Dutch Masters cigar. Wow, that is a neat old case. And look at the cigarette dispenser where the cigarette comes out of its mouth and you steal it out of its mouth and smoke it yourself. That's not very nice, but it's cool. 19 teens or 20s, $150. My friends Rhonda and Rodney have had a really good show, but boy, they still have a couple of really beautiful clocks left. These are French, right? 19th century, I assume.
Correct.
Wow, they're really nice. Do they run?
Yeah.
Wow. Do you mind me asking how much they are?
The two-figure one I got $750 on and $600 on the other.
$750 and $600. That seems about right. I mean, they were really the apex of clockmaking at that time. I assume they're probably, what, 1870 or so?
Yeah.
Oh, they're just beautiful. Do you know who did the movement?
I don't.
I don't either. I need to learn more about French clockmakers of that time, but they all were good. Oh, this is cool with the rounded glass edges. Yeah, that was actually, most people wouldn't have paid extra for that at that time. $225. That seems like a really good price, and it's a nice size. So this was found here at this show in the field for $25. So when I tell you you can shop at antique shows and make money, you can buy at this antique show. I've got an armful of stuff actually right now that I just bought today on Sunday. This is the third day of the show. There's still bargains to be had here. When you have a show this huge, you are going to find things anytime you come. There is still going to be a deal out there somewhere.
I guess he was an Air Force guy or whatever. Airman second class. He 1 block of wood.
1 block of wood this guy carved in. Oh, I see. It's actually a jail cell with somebody in it. Wow, that's really interesting.
It is all one piece of wood.
Wow, that's amazing. And his name was Leroy Jackson. I've never heard of him. Is he a Florida guy?
From the Tampa area.
Tampa, really? Oh, this is really interesting. So let's see. You did a little research here.
That came with.
Oh, so he was African American and he was in the... Oh, I see. Wow, how interesting. That is really cool. I've never seen anything like that. I've never heard of Leroy Jackson before.
I never have either.
That is really something special. Where did you get that?
Out of the state, Norman Beach.
Wow. How neat. Thank you. I'm glad you pointed that out to me. That is, I'm getting more and more interested in primitive and one-of-a-kind things because, I like all this stuff, but the things that, there's not another one of these in existence, and there's something really crazy great about that. How cool. Okay, now this is a booth that I was told about all weekend by people because most people have not seen a collection of head vases this big before. And I wanted to come and show you. This is from her mother's collection, if I understand right. And what an amazing collection this is. You've got all the, you've got the Left and Miss Priss. You've got just tons and tons of really cute stuff here. And then head vases galore. More head vases than I think you'll ever see anywhere else. Of course, I'm not showing you those, so let me turn to that wall. There we go. Now we're going to get into head vase land. And this is great because These are older. This is an old collection. So the things you see here are going to be genuine. They're not going to be reproductions. And you're going to see the subtlety that they are painted just a little more softly than the reproductions. They're not so glossy white in the parts that are exposed. The condition on these seems to be really good for the most part. They seem to have their jewelry. You would see some with the holes in the heads like this so that you would weave the ribbons in and out. I just love head vases, and I have to say I find all of this very appealing. Originally, there were some older ones like this one, which was based on Lana Turner. This is one of the first. I believe this was Morton's Pottery who did this. And then Royal Copley did some, and they were heavier. And then the Japanese started making the ones like the shelves I just showed you. And the Japanese ones were used oftentimes by florists, and they would just put floral pottery in. Look at those gals with those huge earrings. Those are awesome. And they were made for the florists, and a lot of them were just thrown away when they were done. They were just considered some cheap little novelty that you sent a bunch of flowers in. It's a good thing that somebody, and here's this somebody, kept a whole bunch of these for us to enjoy. But this is, you're going to see more here than you would actually see in a head vase book. There's Jackie Kennedy. That one is more desirable. And some of these were made in very, very large sizes as well. Now this one here in the middle, I believe is one of the California potters, like a Kay Finch or one of those, but I'm going to pick it up and see if it has a label so that we can tell. Okay, she doesn't say, but this sort of folded ceramic is something. There we go, Betty Lou Nichols, that's who it is. Yes, another California pottery. I thought those were familiar, but I couldn't remember the maker. So Betty Lou Nichols was the maker of those, but most of the rest of these are Japanese. This one here has eyes that look like P.Y. or Holt Howard, but it's actually George Lefton from 1955, priced at $100. You know, some of these do sell for good money still. What a fun grouping this is. And I imagine because she has so many that she's selling that we're going to see her at a few other shows. Then these are fun. This is sort of a last iteration. These were made in Japan in the late 60s and early 70s, and they're almost more of a paper mache. They are a ceramic that's got a lot of fiber in it. Really fun stuff. Now let's show you this. There's just so many. I kept hearing about this all weekend, and I'm so glad I finally got a chance to show you. These are napkin dolls, so a little variation on that theme. You'd put the napkins in them all the way around. It'd be like a big skirt, and then you pull a napkin out to use at the table. That was a thing that was done in the 1960s. Just a really fun group of stuff to see. Here's some done as banks for my trip to Paris. This one's a string holder. That one's going to be American. I think string holders are really cool, but when you put a string in it, it sort of looks like they're not eating spaghetti in a proper manner. This one's a newer one here. This might be by Clay Art. There's another Betty Lou Nichols next to it. This is a Marilyn Monroe by 1988 from the estate by Clay Art of San Francisco. The Clay Art stuff is starting to be collectible. It was designed in San Francisco but made overseas. Here's wall hanging ones. Including another Lefton here. There's a group of black memorabilia ones. You see those as well. Here's some more here. I like the one with the jewel in the forehead. And here's some other pieces that are black memorabilia related. The chartreuse ones, I believe, are Stanford Pottery out of Ohio. And then you see here where they've got the big floral displays as hats and such. So that gives you an idea of how some of them were used originally. Just such fun stuff. And then down here they've got the nice little boudoir jars where you put your powder or your jewelry, priced in the $40 range. This one's only $25. It may be handmade, but I have to say I think she's really pretty because she's a little different. Let's see what she says on the base. Not handmade, it's Taub China. That's a very small company I've not heard of before. I find her rather attractive with the pretty eyes, the way she's done. This gal here with the little hat is fun. She's in lusterware. $35 on her. Let's see if we have a mark on that. Yes, this is Royal Trio from Japan. Just a really fun display. I'm so glad I got to show you this, to be able to see a giant collection of one type of item in one place is just not something that we get to do very often. They have other events here at Renninger's throughout the year, and one of them is Cars and Guitars, I think it's called. So this is the stage for that, and a jewelry dealer gets to set up on it. She's got good stuff. I'll have to come back when she's open. So while I'm thinking about it, please do subscribe. It does not cost you anything, but it sure helps us. Then you can click the bell to be notified of future videos. We have premieres every Monday and Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern, and we love having new folks in the chat. We also have a lives channel, the Antique Nomad Live. We'll be doing new content on there soon. If you need appraisal information, go to theantiquenomad.com to find out about that. And we also have memberships. Our members really help us to produce extra content, and we're very grateful for their contributions. Here's a fun Tupperware set for $50 with the tumblers in the caddy. People say, oh gosh, Tupperware, it's so expensive, it was just plastic. But you know, Tupperware wasn't cheap when it was new either. And it is good quality. I've been wanting to build up my back muscles. Maybe the Lawrence Staminator will do it for me. They cost £1 and 1 shilling back in the day. It's now $28.50. I think this stuff's neat. I mean, well, I love the 50s lamp, but I wanted to show this because this is Hanovaware, made in Pasadena, California. This sort of popping in the glaze is intentional. These were done as candle holders. You'll see hanging ones on the set of That 70s Show. I didn't realize they did the little compos here, but that's a cute piece too. A lot of times they don't have their labels, so that's something to look for. Sometimes people think they're new, but they actually do have age. And then, of course, I like this kind of glass. This is rainbow. I'm not sure the price. It's a gurgle vase because it goes gurgle gurgle when it comes out. Oh, that's cool. Wow, that's beautiful. 1905. That is fantastic. Stamp metal.
What's that?
Is it stamped metal or cast iron?
No, it's cast iron.
It's cast iron. Wow, gosh.
Yeah.
And a great mark on it.
1903 is it?
Wow, good old foundry mark. Yeah. Oh, that's so cool.
So it's a sign.
That's really neat. Really? Oh, I see. Yes, because it's advertising. Where is Stoveworks? Cincinnati Stoveworks.
Yep.
And this says trademark. Oh my gosh, that is really
originally
cool.
Brown. Yeah, one went for $5,100 in an auction. They kind of got out of control. But
Wow, that's great. And you're asking 25?
25, 2,000.
Yeah, that's a wonderful piece. This caught my eye walking by because it is the Carlton Ware Vert Rouge, but it's got a ship on it. Oh no, I'm wrong. It's Crown Devon. That's interesting because it looks like the Carlton Ware with that glaze, but it's got that English sailing ship on it and the seagulls, and they only have $10 on it. That is interesting enough. I am going to get that. I've been having luck with Crown Devon. It's one of those companies that I think people don't take as seriously, but they did really good quality stuff, so I'm starting to really seek it out. This is a pretty little plique azure vase here. Plique azure is like cloisonné, except the glass pieces are not backed, so it just goes straight through. Yeah, it's really pretty, actually.
No, both of those came out of a doctor's estate.
These are the various signs of the zodiac, and it looks like he's got 6 out of the 12. So he's got the sign of the sea goat, which is the Capricorn here, and the most important one, of course, is Leo, because I'm a Leo. And it says you have the respect of others because of your self-confidence and enthusiasm. If you can control your impatience, wealth and fame are in the future. Well, the second half of that, we're working on. The first half of that, yes, definitely true. Leos are thought of as being very vain and only interested in themselves, so when people say, what's your sign? I say, I'm a Leo. And then they say, don't you want to know what my sign is? And I say, no, I'm a Leo. Haha. This is a neat Franciscan pattern that I used to have and use regularly called sea sculptures. It only came in the beige and the white. They didn't do a full line of it. That's the only problem. They don't have all the extra pieces you want. But wow, he is packed in here. He told me he had a lot of stuff, and he was not kidding. See a bunch of Manhattan and Park Avenue pieces I already have. These are Fostoria, the Baroque and the Flame pattern. This one's Flame. Baroque is somewhat similar. Wow, this place is really full, and it goes on and on and on. And I'm carrying a bunch of big, sort of wide stuff I'm a little concerned about. But let me see if I can walk through here carefully. And are we in the same shop or another shop? Looks like we're in another shop. I think we snuck in the back door. And they have a whole shelf of nice cup and saucers here. Hi there. I was filming in your neighbor's store, and suddenly I'm in yours, so hello.
Yeah, there you go.
Neat stuff. Now you're here every weekend, right? Is that the case? Yeah,
We're permanently.
These are the permanent ones, and wow, I can see why you need to be, because you've got a great selection of jewelry here. A lot of marcasites. Lots of rhinestones, all divided by colors and shapes. There's some fun pieces in there. I'm sure there's some nice sign pieces. I like that big blue square. And the red bow here is nice. Bows and things shaped like that always seem to do well for me. But I'm actually going to head out because the place I wanted to show you is a fellow who I met yesterday. He came and bought some stuff in my booth. Oh, look at this. This is an old U.S. Post Office box front. I almost got one of these, and then someone, they were going to sell it to me because they were moving, and then the person who bought the house wanted to keep it. I can't blame them. U.S. Post Office, made by John M. Lane, Chicago, Illinois, and Milford, New Hampshire. So this was commercially made, but this would have been when you had a post office and your boxes in like a little country store or a place where you didn't have a post office separate. But these shops are all available to you all the time. That's why we don't see a big crowd, because these are open every single weekend year-round here. So at some point we'll have to come back. But this one here is Florida Faience Gallery, and Martin is a fellow who does ceramics. So I'm curious to see what his stuff is. I think a lot of it may be new, but there's also a lot of really interesting paintings that are reminiscent of Florida highwaymen by various artists here. This is Melissa Menzer that you see here. I like that she used the old frame. That's a good repurpose there. Hello there. Good, how are you doing? Ghost Orchids of the Everglades. These are really fun. He had told me, he was describing his shop to me, and I can see what he was saying. These are really beautiful pieces, and I like the fact that the work is, again, it's got a folk art aspect to it. It's definitely like Florida highwaymen art, which I really enjoy. I like the bear jug here too. That reminds me of some of the things made in the Carolinas. This is just a really fun store. The flamingo lamp, look at the finial on that. I could have that in my house. And again, these are not old pieces, but they're really, really cool looking. I think there's definitely an audience for it. Good morning, how are you?
I'm out.
And this is the guy. Oh, that's great. He's getting ready to do more. That's cool.
That's me.
It is beautiful. And I it's funny, you mentioned it was Florida Faience, and I kept thinking, why is that familiar? One of the dealers in an antique mall in St. Pete found a piece of yours at an estate sale, and it had the mark on it, and we didn't know who you were, but it sold for a good number. I mean, more about the same or more than you have on it here. So,
you know, people keep buying them, reselling them, and telling them I'm dead.
Oh.
But it's kind of a compliment, you know. I mean, as soon as I die, this will be worth more.
Well, that's the theory, but you need to enjoy it while you're alive. We like artists to be successful in their time.
Yes.
And he's very much alive. You can see right here.
And I've been doing this since 2003, and I make pots every single week. I go home and I got studio out in the woods, so me and the dog are out in the studio and watching the turkeys go by, and we just have a great time just sitting around making pots all
And
day.
getting inspiration from nature. It's just beautiful. And what started you? Have you been a ceramicist a long time?
No, I started making pottery back in '99, and before that I collected art pottery.
Yes.
So I started out here.
What did you collect when you first started? Because obviously you've gotten some inspiration from some older pottery companies.
I bought a Hager matte green vase.
Oh, yeah.
Early one. And it was the most beautiful thing I'd ever owned. It was on like my fireplace mount. I couldn't leave it alone.
Yeah.
And for some reason, the color orange, I'm an eye-level shopper, bright colors.
Yep.
So Stangle orange pottery became my obsession.
Oh, the great color of glaze, yes.
Yeah, so orange, until I had way too many of those. I had sets of dishes, I had them in the rust, and and the more money you get, the more stuff you buy. And then a friend of mine told me he was taking a pottery class because his therapist told him he washed his hands too much and that would cure it.
Oh.
So I said, that sounds like something.
Because your hands are always in clay.
That's it. So I took the pottery class and it was like instant love. I mean,
That's cool.
I couldn't do it. I'm left-handed. The wheel was going the wrong way. But something about that, it's like, I can do this. I can do this. I'll figure out how to do this. And
Oh, that's really neat. It's really fun stuff, and I love the naturalism. The influences are fun, and I mean, clearly it's all inspired by Florida. Even this guy here, you can see, I mean, I drive out by Okeechobee, and you see the longhorns out there and the Brahma bulls and all that. It's just so much fun.
There's inspiration. If I can't think of something to do, I just have to walk outside.
Just look out the window. It is something really neat. Oh, I like this guy with the alligator crawling up the edge.
Alligators have made so many house payments for me.
I bet. Everybody loves gators.
I'm making more gators.
Oh, that's really fun.
I need more gators in stock.
Oh, this is great, and I like the art that you have with it. It obviously fits. And are these current artists, or are some of these out of production now? I see the Barnhill, which I know is 1920s.
I've been out here for almost 20 years, and you run into a lot of good paintings, and then you run out of wall space, and then they stack up in the garage,
and then there need to be a place for it to go, and here it is. Who is Madame Zickmund? I've heard of this label before. Do you mind if I take it down?
Sure. It's got Zickmund down in the corner.
And then it says it has a mark on the back. And there we go. Art Galleries Treasureland, Florida's finest stores on Central Avenue in St. Petersburg. So this is old 1920s land boom St. Pete.
Exactly.
This would have been one of the first galleries in town. That is really cool. I don't know that I've seen any pieces by her over there. And I see this guy a lot because Barnhill printed there for a long time.
That's it.
And this is actually Boca Ciega Bay. This is all condos now. You would not recognize the place, but back in the day, it was the end of the line, and you just looked out into the beautiful open ocean. And this gal's really neat. I don't think I've ever seen a ceramic that was to look like it's like a Seminole doll.
And she's a toilet paper holder, so it's actually functional.
Oh, that's hilarious. I love it. Original alcohol ink. That's interesting. I've never heard that expression used before, and I've seen work like this where it seems like it's got this, it's sort of psychedelic, it almost looks like oil spots on it. I didn't realize it was alcohol ink. Must be something I need to learn about.
I think maybe in the last year she started doing them and bringing them in.
Interesting. And this piece here I really like. This reminds me of some early Rookwood art pottery because you've got the dimension and the glazes and the different layers, and the color scheme seems to be similar. It's got a little bit of texturing. It's nice that he signs everything. Oh, good. And he's putting his Florida Faience sticker on there with his face so that we'll all know who everyone was when we're all gone.
Even weirder is it's a lot harder to try to make a Rookwood vase. I could just make a regular vase and not try to do one very Rookwood style. But when you got to do the Rookwood style, it's like, you can't screw this up.
Right, because you're talking about things that the masters did. Who's the artist doing this?
Her name's Kay Burleson. She's 86 years old.
Wow.
She lives up in the woods by the St. Johns River in a trailer. Her boyfriend lives in the trailer next door to her. every month or so they drive into town and she'll bring baskets and pick up her check or whatever.
Oh, this
And-
must be her.
Yep, that's Kay.
Wow, that's fantastic, showing her doing it, and this is great. Well, and you know, at age 86, we want everybody to be around forever, but we won't all be around forever. This is really neat, and she uses, I know it's artificial sinew, but she's doing the pine needle baskets in the traditional manner. And, you know, so much of this I feel like is going to be a lost art because there aren't that many people who have the patience to learn how to do something like this anymore.
There's only one other pine needle artist that I know of, and Kay taught her, and
Wow.
I've never seen that lady's baskets anywhere, so I don't know that she's...
Doing it commercially, but at least she taught her, so there's somebody to carry on the tradition. Well, I have to say, I don't usually talk much about newer merchandise and things that are being produced today, but that was such a neat collection of ceramics that I just thought, you know, it's one of a kind, it's unique, it's got some legitimacy here, and he has been making for long enough that there are vintage pieces now on the market.
Attention vendors, the show office is open at gate 2 for renewal.
Here's some Royal Ruby. The syrup pitcher and the cocktail shaker are hard pieces to find. Well, we're going to do a little show and tell with Kat, the nurse flipper, because look what she got for $5. I keep telling people, come to Real World Antique Shows. You will find deals if you're a reseller. That is cool. And then this is a Yadro bell from 1988, but it is marked sample, not for resale. That is interesting. That's got to be a sleeper because I've never seen a sample piece, and most people haven't because, you know, they give them to somebody to try to sell the light. I think that's when they first were coming out. That is cool, and it's a different color. They're usually blue. They probably were literally someone's salesman sample, and they just ended up at home and they forgot all about them. How cool. And then I just wanted to show my Murano bowl is going away. Yay! Where would they find you as a reseller?
Love to shop 1111.
Love to shop 1111 on
Instagram and eBay.
Instagram and eBay. Cool. Well, I'm selling her this Murano bowl, so if you want it, you have to buy it from her. So my friend Derek here has been on flea market, yeah, you were on flea market flip at the Elephant's Trunk, weren't you? Yeah, and a couple of other things. So you may have seen him around before. He likes patriotic stuff, and this is amazing because this is in remembrance of this person who I assume was some sort of a senior officer looking at the uniform for his cruise in China, Japan, and the Philippine Islands. This looks like something that would have come out right about the time of the Great White Fleet, which toured in about 1908, as I recall, because I grew up in a Navy town. And it is amazing, the embroidery.
This is pre-World War I Germany.
Right.
Obviously, United States. I think that was Australia.
Australia had the Union Jack in the corner back then.
Obviously, Japan and China.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's really cool.
And it's all silk embroidery and metal threads.
That's so
and
neat.
An oil painting on silk on the bottom. And it is a Great White Fleet for sure.
Yes, it is just an absolutely beautiful piece, and I'm sure that we could find out who this dapper gentleman was because he would have, I can't tell what rank he was because that's too old a uniform for me to know off the top of my head, but that is really, really something cool. Do you mind saying what you're going to sell it for?
Honestly, I don't know.
That's a fair answer. Yeah.
I'm thinking between 5,000 and 6,000.
I was going to say 5,000. I think that 5 to 7 is possible depending on where you sold it. It's just an amazing piece, and thank you. I'm so glad you brought that over. It's just awesome. I don't get to see too many things as nice as this at an outdoor meet, so this is really cool. Well, it has just been so fun for me to show you the highlights from the last Mount Dora Renninger show. I'm really looking forward to this weekend's show too. I hope that if you are in the Orlando, Florida area that you will come to visit. And if you're not, well then we'll have highlights here for you to see in the near future. So one way or another, we're going to enjoy this weekend together. I'm George the Antique Nomad. Check me out on the social media links in the description, and we'll see you again soon. Bye for now. Thanks for joining me again in the fun and fascinating antique community, here where online meets the real world. Please click the subscribe button below, click the bell to be notified when new videos upload, leave a comment below, and hit thumbs up to like this video. Links to our online social media and our items for sale are in the description. This is George at the Antique Nomad. Bye for now.